That'd be neat. I have a question.
Who was that? Alice? Yeah.
Yeah, when are you sending out the links for the Megillah reading for tomorrow night? Tomorrow or
They're
today?
already out. They're already on
I
our
didn't
park
get-
schedule.
Alice, I'll
Oh,
send you the link to the
But
bulletin.
you can, if you go to thebayit.org/Purim, there's a link to the schedule and we have links to the Zooms in there.
oh, okay. Thank you.
Alice, I'll send you an email.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Ellen.
And remember the password, right? So all those who have
Yeah,
password.
yeah.
Okay, great. Yep. And we have a few options. So look at the options, see what works for you. 7:40 is the longest. It's the most festive. There's a women's reading at 9:30 that'll be Zoomed. There's a 9:45 fast reading at night. And in the morning, we also have two options and an English option. People
Well,
remember we haven't. Yeah, Elaine,
yeah, I'm going to the women's. It was wonderful last year.
I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
and you
there's
could hear every word.
you will hear every word. You'll
I
hear every word.
know.
But if
Not
you
in all
prefer a quieter one, you could either listen to the women's or the later, whatever you want.
Okay.
The women's is lovely because it's women. Duh. Arnie, we can wish you, you know what? We can dedicate this for you as well because Arnie's going through a procedure. So we can do for you, Tzeit Chal Shalom, that you should have a good journey and that your journey with health should be successful.
Thank you.
So that's good timing for you, Arnie, and for your side of Moshe Mordechai Ben Meyer Bear. Or did I got it right. Okay, great. All right. Okay, so we have a few things to do in 121. We still haven't finished 121. I guess it's appropriate because just a second, guys. 1 second. Okay. There were two things. First of all, to talk about the last verses of 121. And the second thing is to go over the chat, which Karen reminded me, and I managed to save it. So if people hadn't, Sue, you also did Sue put in here? No, not Sue, but Karen put in, Lance put in, Arnie put in, people had put in, Helen put in, when you send to me directly, it's fine. But when it's an important comment, then you can just write it to everybody. Everybody can appreciate, everybody has beautiful things to say. So Helen, for example, wrote me that the rabbi of the conservative shul where she grew up always said the last line of, which is beautiful actually, of last line of 121 after services, which is really beautiful. So we're going to go, that's a very beautiful comment. And even what you wrote, Arnie, I asked people to tell me which are their favorite Psalms, and those are the ones we're going to learn. Why not? If it's your favorite Psalm, we can learn them. So I have a whole list, and Arnie gave me a list. So the ones that I had picked may not be the ones that, or we will, I don't know. You'll tell me if you like them, if you're familiar with them, and if you want to learn them, but I did already prepare 130. So we are going to learn that next. And those are the two Psalms that we've been saying since October 7th, 121 and 130. Which is why I picked them first. For those, I know some people said they weren't familiar, but really all you have to do is come to shul once and you'll realize, oh, wait. And that's why I'm sure even those, probably most of you have either been to shul since October 7th or been on a Zoom tefillah once. And every time we say 121, we used to say 121 and 130. Now I alternate, but those are the two that we read. Okay, let's go through the last lines, and I'm using the book that Karen recommended to me. Psalms that speak to you. I do recommend it for people who want Hebrew and English. It's really well done. So going to 121. Do you people hear the voices in the background?
Not too bad.
Not bad? Okay. It's a little distracting to me, but maybe not to you. Let me just quickly ask them if they can move somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go through the last verses of 121. And the last two, well, so we did the thing with the sun, right? That the sun won't bother you during the day and the moon at night. We talked about that a little bit. Are we good with that? Okay. Oh, hi, Felice. Welcome. Let me say hi.
Hi, thank you.
Karen, Robert Moshe, Debbie, Judy, Lance, Sue, Helen, Elaine, Alice, Arnie and Debbie, by the way, are related, like they're husband and wife. They just choose to each do from a different, that way we get to see the cloud and the sky behind Debbie. So thank you very much. Actually quite beautiful. But they do know each other, just saying. And Arnie and Felice and Carol joined us from Florida. Hi, Carol. And Robert. Okay. So we talked, so I'm going to go to the last two verses. Let's take a deep dive into them so we feel we have closure on this song. And I want to say, I want to thank you when you call me out on that. That's fine. Like, it's okay to say to me, I don't feel like we really finished it. You know, we didn't spend enough time. And I know I sometimes rush because I want to finish something, but I think quality is better than quantity. That's what I'm thinking. That way, you know, oh, we learned these 10 Psalms, but better to learn one Psalm so deeply. And from my point of view, if we have more Psalms that we like after we finish this year, I don't mind teaching it next year. It's fine with me. If we feel we haven't gone through all the Psalms that we like, not my, you know, I have no issue if we want to continue. Because I've never done this before. I've never done this deep dive into Psalms. So it's very exciting for me as well. The last two verses, Hashem yishmor tzeitecha, no, sorry. Hashem yishmorcha mikol ra. By the way, I'm reading from this, Karen, so thank you, because I have the translation right here in front of me. And it's this beautiful little book.
Yeah.
You also have, look at Sue, she's got that. So this is a lovely, lovely book because it's, oh, look at you, got the Sansino, perfect. Or sorry, yes, Sansino. Everybody should have Psalms somewhere, either online or in your hand. However you have it is fine. But I love this because it's so easy for me to use it, Karen. So thank you. Hashem yishmorcha mikol ra. God will protect you mikol ra, from all harm. Yishmor et nafshecha. God or he will protect your soul. So remember what we said, that nefesh is soul, but actually in the Tanakh, nefesh means your life. That's really what it means. But we could interpret it however we want to interpret it. So we could call it your soul, we could call it your life, which in a way is the same, right? Your soul is what gives you life. In fact, I just want you to know, it was so beautiful. This is in parentheses, parenthetically. People here know what the Chevra Kadisha is. You know what it is, right? Yeah. Anybody not know, tell me. And that's allowed, not like the Chevra Kadisha. Yeah. Felice, you know what it is?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so the Chevra Kadisha it's the one to take care of the body between death and burial and washes the body, takes care of it, makes sure buried properly. There is a Chevra Kadisha of women in HIR, started about 5 or 6 years ago. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful group of women. Traditionally, the Chevra Kadisha kind of, I don't know if I would say it's celebrate, but they take time to gather on Zayin Adar, the 7th day of Adar, which is a week ago. Anybody know why the 7th of Adar?
Moshe's birth
And your thoughts.
And death.
Death,
And death. And what do we know about who prepared Moshe for dying, for burial, so to speak? Who buried Moshe? God.
Hashem.
Hashem, exactly. Hashem took care of Moshe. So we imitate, right? We're supposed to walk in God's ways. God showed us how to take care of. So the Chevra Kadisha, Zayin Adar, which is a week before Purim, the Chevra Kadisha, so some places they fast during the day and then break their fast in shul at night after Mincha Maariv with a Suda, with some sort of a gathering, with a feast, with a meal. My mother was in the Chevra Kadisha many, many years in Boston, and that's what they did. And in fact, my son was born in Israel in between 7th and 8th of Adar. And my mother wasn't home. And remember, that was before cell phones because he's 42. Shh. It's very noisy.
No sound?
No, she muted because she was going to tell them to quiet down.
It just sounds so quiet.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, busy building. So my son was born right in between in Israel, Ben Hashmashot, in the time between the 7th and 8th of Adar. And my mother wasn't home because she in America. When I finally called them, like in the middle of the night, whenever it was, even though it was evening time when she would usually be home, because she was at the shul breaking their fast with this meal of the
Oh.
Chevra Kadisha. So that's like my sort of connection that way.
Mm.
And the so the Chevra Kadisha. So why am I saying that? Because the women of the Chevra Kadisha gathered last Thursday night, and we had
Oh.
a meal together, just the Chevra Kadisha women.
Mhm.
The men also had, but separate. And so 1 second, Karen, I'll get to that. And one of the women or more said that being there with the body and preparing the body so lovingly feels so holy. And that's when you realize that it's the nefesh, the soul, that really gives the body the life and vitality and creates a unique person. And it feels very, very holy to be able to lovingly take care of the body when the nefesh has left. And many of us believe that the nefesh, the soul, actually hovers until the Shiva is over. And I always felt comforted by that. I've sat Shiva 3 times and I feel comforted by that. So the word nefesh feels very, very powerful. And it speaks to something that Sue wrote me. So Sue, I would like you to share with the group what you thought of, well, you thought of it for the last one, but I think it begins on this verse. Shh, sorry, friends, I'm teaching a class here. There are a lot of people coming in for this gathering downstairs. So each one I tell them. So what were you going to say, Sue? I want you to share. Wait, we don't hear you so well, so speak slowly.
The Lord shall God.
Yeah, could you raise your face so I can,
Yeah, Ray, put your face in the camera. We can read your lips at the same time.
Oh, the Lord shall God. You're going out and you're coming in.
In the world,
Huh? From this time forth and forevermore.
oh, it's really hard to understand what you're saying. I don't know why. Maybe move your face back a little bit, but I think you said, or put in the chat. Yeah, Sue, put it also in the chat because we really want to hear what you're saying. And I will read it out loud. Oh, do you
Okay.
know how to do that?
I don't think I can.
Oh, now we hear you better. Try again. Say again what you said.
Okay. It's the Lord shall God. By going
No, we lost you again. I'm sorry, something with the microphone. I can't figure it out. So click, if you look on the bottom, click on chat. Can you click with your mouse on the chat?
Yeah. Okay.
Then and then just type in that little box and we'll see it. How's that? Awesome. Sue, you're awesome. Learning technology at any age. I love it. Lance wrote, when one performs an act of kindness for a person after he or she passes away, they know there is no chance they will ever receive any kind of benefit in exchange for that deed from the person who's doing a favor for. Therefore, doing kindness to a person after one dies is true kindness. It's called chesed shel
Shall
emet.
emet.
Nachon. It's called true kindness. Very nice. Thank you, Lance. It's kind of beautiful to have this. So it was so beautiful to hear the women talk like that. And they felt so connected. Right. Keep going, Sue. We're going to read everything you say. It's fine. That's great. You're doing great. I'm going to continue reading the pasuk, but God will protect you from all harm. God will protect your soul. So can I tell you what this is making me think? It's making me think that God will protect your soul after it leaves your body.
Wow, beautiful.
I feel so moving. I'm going to cry. I have tears from this. What a what a wonderful thought that God will gather the soul. Because everybody passes away in the end, even though it's hard for us to, look that in the face. But we know, as one doctor pointed out, there's zero recovery rate from being human, which is a great way to put it. Zero recovery rate.
Covering it.
But the
Covering
thought
it.
from this time forth, keep going, Sue. If you want to write something about it, please write it. But you're making me think that God will guard your soul. What a beautiful thing to say to somebody who's, mourning. I mean, if it works for them, obviously. I never want to imagine what people will find comforting, but it's something that one could say. I am finding it comforting. Let me say it better. Others may not, but to me, it feels comforting if you believe in the world to come, whatever that means. So I'm really appreciating. I had not thought of it until Sue brought it to my attention. It could be somebody else also said it, and I apologize if I didn't realize. But Sue, yeah, Felice, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just want to say, I think somebody could think of it also if they feel like they're very sick and they may be dying soon, that there's something to look forward to. Like, even in death, God's going to be with me, and I could have him. I know my soul's going to be protected.
Wow. That feels hard from my point of view.
Yeah, it's a
Also
little hard,
feels
but
beautiful. If
yeah.
somebody is, I would say if somebody feels ready, I know that sometimes people are elderly or have suffered a lot of pain. And I know I've heard this from people, especially who are elderly, who feel that they've lived a full life and they feel grateful to their life. And for whatever reason, they're just, have gotten to a point where they know that they're going to pass soon. So for them, I can imagine that might be comforting. I just don't know if it'll feel comforting. So we all have to be very careful when we try to comfort someone. Most of the time, the best comfort, by the way,
Say nothing.
just to
Let
say,
them talk.
just to say nothing and take your cue from them. Like if somebody said to you, like I can tell you this as a rabbi, if somebody said to me, what do you think happens to the person? What happens to the soul? Then I have an opportunity to say, this is how I see it. I find comfort in this. I don't know if you will, but I would never say it to someone if they didn't open the conversation. Right. From birth to death. Exactly, Sue. Perfect. I'm going to read it out loud in a moment. So I think if somebody gives you that opening, then you can step in and say that. I think until that person allows that to happen, we should never imagine what is going to give people comfort. And I want to give you a pro tip. If you ever want to preface, sorry guys, I'm teaching here. If you ever are in a Shiva house or trying to comfort and you want to preface your sentence with at least, don't say the sentence. At least is only good if you say at least a cup of sugar. That works. Right? People say I'm not saying this group, I definitely feel this group would not say it. But people say, at least you have other children. At least the person isn't suffering. How do you know that comforts the other one? Maybe the mourner would be like, I'd prefer to have that person even if they're suffering because I love them. And it was good with them even when they were suffering and they were willing to suffer, right? We cannot assume that we know what will comfort the other person. This is a very important concept for me. And I just want everybody to remember that it is not our job role. We don't have the right to assume what will comfort the other. If you're going to use the word, well, at least this or whatever, unless that person says it. Somebody told me whose husband passed away very, 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 very suddenly. And that person takes comfort because that person was not a well person in general and had suffered much. The comfort that she is taking is that he didn't suffer. She imagined 1,000 scenarios that he could have suffered and lingered and been in a coma. And she said that actually comforts her because so many times I cannot say that would comfort her. But once she said it to me, then I know I can sit with her with that thought because she finds it comforting. I would never, ever assume or presume that that would be comforting for somebody else. It wouldn't be comforting. Okay.
I just want to add one thing. I'm a member of my local.
Not Elaine. Who's saying this? Alice. Sorry.
Yeah. And sometimes I have friends who may not be very religious, but they know I'm on the Chevra Kadisha and they're going to have a tower for their loved ones. And just knowing that I'm going to participate is extremely comforting.
Oh my goodness, just gave me
Ah.
goosebumps. That's so
Oh,
beautiful.
that's.
Yes, it can be very comforting. It's actually comforting when people know. And there was an interesting discussion at the Chevra Kadisha meal about whether we should tell people or not tell people. Is it good or isn't it? Because there's a real
Right.
culture around being quiet about it because you don't do it for glory. You don't do it for
Right.
accolades. You don't do it for, it's not the reason. It's not about that. It's about doing what should be done, the right thing and with love. And I think, Alice, you're offering the other side to it, the side that actually, if people know, it can be very comforting. So that's
Right.
really beautiful. That's really beautiful. And I believe, given the age of everybody on this group, I assume that all of us have experienced a loss. I can't, I mean, it's possible that nobody did. I would say that would be unusual after a certain age to not have experienced some loss.
I
I
just
mean, wonderful if you didn't.
two quick comments. We've all been in Shiva houses where it becomes somewhat of a social scene.
Mm-hmm.
It drives me crazy. And I was in a house where that was happening, and one of the rabbis in the community sat down and looked at the person that was sitting Shiva and said, "Tell me about your mom."
Exactly.
And it made the person sitting Shiva cry.
Which
So
is good. Those are good tears.
right, right.
And
So
that
that was
she was like noticed again, or he,
right.
whatever.
That's the point of,
Right,
besides comforting, that's also to learn about.
Absolutely.
My Mechutin, Rabbi Yossi Adler, always said,
Know that
Hamakom.
name.
Yeah, he's
Rena? Not Rena.
Rena. Yeah,
Wow.
lives in Israel now. He made Aliyah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, very much for women's rights. He
I
was
know. Amazing.
fab-
Yep.
um but he's very eloquent, so I'm not going to say this as eloquent or even as deep as he speaks, but hamakom yenachem etchem. And he would explain hamakom, of course, is Hashem, but it also means place. So you should take on something about the person that you have lost and make it a part of your life, which for example, my mom used to call one of her nieces all the time, all the time. And she lives in England. And so I, 5 years ago, took it upon myself to call my niece. She lost her husband when she was very young. So that's what he was referring to. Take on a quality,
So beautiful.
yeah, and make it your own.
And that's another way to guard somebody's soul, to preserve it rather, to preserve
Right.
someone's soul by taking on some. Oh, see, Sue is nodding. Beautiful. And another way to understand Hamakom Yenachem is that the place the person left in the world should be a comfort. The
Yes.
kind of person they were, the legacy they left, the
Yes.
memories you have with them, that. And I usually, when I share that at a Shiva, I say, right now, that may not be comforting, but I hope in years to come that will be comforting.
Yeah.
And I just want to add one small caveat to what you said. I 100% agree that it can be the role of the rabbi or of anybody who's aware to shift the conversation and the focus back to the mourner. And people don't always know how to do it because it's uncomfortable. But sometimes the opposite is true. Like sometimes we get a heads up that this person had a contentious, difficult relationship with their parent or sibling, and they don't want them, tell me stories, and like that person actually deserted them, but they're still sitting Shiva because that's the halacha and it's the biological. So sometimes you need, and I would even say that in those cases, obviously the rabbi can't be there 24/7. So you limit the hours of Shiva more and you give a heads up so that somehow there'll always be somebody there to help deflect, or even to say, somehow to find a statement or a sentence that helps shift it off of the mourner. So everything can be complicated. There's no one size fits all, but there is a one size fits all. Never say at least. Don't say that. Take it out of your vocabulary. Throw it overboard. That I can say with pretty much certainty, unless, do you have at least 1 cup of sugar? Like that works. And maybe you can think of some other examples, but I think you know what I mean. Okay. I want to go to the last pasuk because this is actually what Sue was referring to. And I want to say, I'm so glad that you reached out to me about that, Sue, because I think I would have rushed on to 1:30, and this is such a beautiful conversation. So
Can I
I'm so
comment the same pasuk that we were talking about? Hashem Yishmor Mikol Ra Yishmor Nafshecha.
yeah, what about it?
Okay, I was going to, when I first read it, and I was going to ask you why, what's the difference between Nafshecha and why doesn't it write Chayecha, your life? But thanks to your explanation about Hashem watching our soul, that
wasn't, I don't know. Oh, the one I just thought of because other people brought it. Yes. But I want to remind you, Judy, that in the Tanakh, and this is something I learned when I was preparing this Mizmor, that in the Tanakh, nefesh means life. That is what it means. And you'll see it. Now you'll notice it'll jump out at you, nefesh ki something. You'll see it. And it always means, that's what it means. It doesn't mean your soul. It's
But
actually.
Sarah was the life of Sarah, right?
Yeah, but that's different because that was talking about the years of her life.
So
Not nafshe. That would be weird to use nefesh for that. But it sometimes refers to nefesh ki. I don't know. I could look it up to see nefesh ki, and it means a person, meaning an alive person. So there's always slight nuances. But Chayei Sarah is really referring to the life, her lives, meaning her years of her life. And I actually think it says Shnei Chayei Sarah. So, you could argue and say, oh, why doesn't it use it everywhere? Because it's not appropriate everywhere. Every word has nuance. If you looked at the thesaurus, there might be 20 similar words. What are the word for synonyms? But they're all a little bit different. So the little difference between chayecha and nafshecha here. Let me just see. Like this is in Roots. Nafesh, and it'll revive your spirit or your life. So it wouldn't be chayecha. Chayecha actually physically means somehow your life. Or in Dvarim, what does it say in Dvarim? I was just looking for a quote. Ta'avat nafshecha, what you desire. What nafshecha means, it's not the, I feel like nefesh has a little bit more depth in the Torah than just your life. It's also your vitality. Maybe that's a way to say it. Yes, Sue.
I'm just reading the last couple of words. The words have God is going out and coming in from this country and forevermore. The things of that, you shall keep thy soul.
Sue, you have to type it. For some reason, we don't hear you well. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little hard for us to understand your words. It's something with the microphone. I don't know what it is. It's like, what's the word for it? It's blurred. What's the word?
Muffled.
Muffled. It's like muffled, and we don't hear you're speaking very clearly. It's a sound system. But I want to quote that pasuk. Hashem yishmor tzeitecha v'orecha me'ata v'yad olam. So there are many ways to understand it. Let's start with the plain text. The plain text means that if it's tfilat haderech, if it is a psalm that's about the prayer for the journeyer that used to be, which is many people, see it that way, then it can be you're going and coming, like you should go and you're coming back. God should keep you safe, literally safe. Or remember we said you're going and coming into the new place. It could also be going and coming, meaning not round trip. It could be that person is going somewhere and not coming back. And so you're coming into a new place. But Sue wanted to look at it differently. She said, you're going and coming from now and forever, meaning from birth to death. So here's so interesting. Because Seitcha would be the first one, Boacha is the second one. Going out would mean coming out of the birth canal, out of the previous life with God, if your soul is with God, coming out into our world. And Boacha, this could also be comforting, by the way. Who was it who said it was comforting? Alice, Elaine, which one? That was comforting to imagine that your soul, or I said that your soul's being taken care of. Maybe I said it. Your soul's being taken care of. So you're coming back to God. Seitcha, we left God, and Boacha, you're coming back to God. Oh,
Right.
you said, Alice, it could be comforting for people as they're leaving the world. Is that what you said? I think, yeah.
Yes.
So, any thoughts about the last pasuk? And you can still type, Sue, and we'll read it.
And it says, he shall keep thy soul.
It's muffled. We can't. Maybe move your head back. I think when you moved your head back was a little bit better. And keep your head up, your chin up.
He shall keep thy soul.
He shall keep something. And I didn't hear what the word was.
Okay.
Just type it and we'll read it. Okay. Anybody else have a thought? Felice, somebody else?
Yes, I want to, many people say
Felice,
on.
by the way, we see your ceiling. We don't
Oh,
see it.
okay, you see, now it's okay?
Yeah, you can see yourself, no?
No,
Oh, you don't
No.
see yourself. Got it. Okay, go on.
okay, now, okay, now I can. This is better, right?
Hold on one second. Somebody's trying to get somewhere. What are you looking for? The event? Downstairs. Go through those doors. No problem. Go ahead, Felice.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, many people say Shabbos afternoon Berchi Nafshi before the Shir Hamalot. And that's interesting. Before we get into the Shir Hamalot, it's Berchi Nafshi. So
Meaning,
sort of
bless
put you
my
in,
soul.
right, so it puts you like in a certain frame of mind.
Nice.
I mean,
That's a very
me anyway.
long one. Isn't that the
Yeah,
one we
that's
say
that.
for Rosh
Yes,
Chodesh,
it's
Felice?
104. Yes.
So we say for, yeah, that's if we decide to do that, it'll take us quite a few.
Yes, yeah.
I'm not sure we'll do that. It feels
No,
very
that's
long.
very, it's very, it is very long.
I mean,
I
it's
just thought the
beautiful.
word, it begins with Nafshi, Baruch
Barchi nafshi. Yes,
Nafshi,
very
yeah.
beautiful. That's a nice idea. So Lance is asking, how do we comfort the families of the hostages? I don't think we can, just by
Mhm.
caring. And maybe a little bit by doing what Karen suggested. You know, many families have, many of them just want to be left alone in their privacy of their
Right.
suffering and their pain. But many, sometimes they have either more distant family or friends who uplift and highlight one aspect of the person who either taken hostage or was killed. So if anybody has, you know, something they remember, there were so many initiatives, like there was doing a yoga class and, you know, for a woman, it was a yoga teacher. I actually don't remember if she came back alive. I just don't remember. I'm sorry. I think that it has comforted the families a little bit just to know that we're not stopping to care. Yeah, Arnie.
After hearing this discussion, I'm imagining this psalm from the point of view of somebody who is thinking about death or whose death is imminent.
Yeah.
And the whole psalm is an imagination of what life after death, I mean,
Wow.
yeah, is going to be like. So my eyes are to the mountains. I'm already in heaven. So I'm looking at, yeah, I'm looking at heaven. I'm in heaven.
Go
My
on.
comes from the Lord. That I'm in the afterlife. What's going to be if the Lord's not going to help me? Where am I going to go? And so
Wow.
if you go down each line to the very end, it's like an imagination or a hope that I'm in the afterlife. What is it going to look like? What is it going to be? Where will my help come from?
Wow.
That is beautiful.
And that's
Anybody want to say that's really beautiful? I think for Sue, that really resonates.
Other thought, if I might.
Yeah, please.
Yes, okay. In the same way that when we started, this is bringing it down from the heavenly and the afterlife to the current life. In the same way, like telling us, wishing Arnie, well on his journey for his procedure. This
Yeah.
is, it's can be about somebody going for a medical something. In addition, it can also be, because I was recently at a wonderful wedding, it can also be for a cousin and Kala getting married.
Oh, so say, oh,
Shem Yishmor Seischa Uvawecha. Like when, they're going down the aisle and their whole life ahead of them too.
Oh, that's interesting.
that's beautiful. Wow. So meaning any kind of journey? Hold on 1 second. Let me just check with these people what they're looking for. Maybe I can help them. Okay, more people coming to the event.
One last thing, and this is for another class.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about what nefesh means as opposed to body, because I it I want to be comforted by that, but I don't feel I have a good grasp of what we mean when we say your soul should have an aliyah, your
Oh, that's tough.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I need a deeper understanding, and then I'll find it comforting.
Maybe the mystics in Sfat. By the way, in England, I know this from Susanna, who works here in the office. She says, when somebody on a yard site, that you say, wishing you long life, which I think is so beautiful, meaning you should have a long life. You should merit that because you're speaking about somebody who passed away. And somebody else said, maybe it means that you'll take the legacy of that person and the good deeds in a long life that you'll. So it's, I think they all, like, who knows what it means? What does it exactly mean when you say, may somebody's memory be for a blessing? I don't know exactly what that means. It's a nice thing to say. It feels good.
Sounds good.
It sounds good. Exactly.
It probably means something different to everyone. For
right.
me, that would mean that it was such a good person that somehow you will use that memory
Oh,
as part of a blessing. I would broaden that word blessing,
yeah.
more like a good deed or
Their memory be a good deed? What do you mean?
you
What-
think about the person that has passed and all the wonderful things that that person has done, and it inspires you to
so you'll bring
so
blessings.
that's the
Yeah.
for me,
Yes.
that's the bracha that you know um because she no longer is on earth to do all those wonderful things.
Mhm.
And
But the fact that her memory is inspiring you, so it's a blessing because then you bring blessing perhaps into other people's
exactly,
lives.
you said it a lot better than me. Exactly.
No, I really love that. I think that's just a beautiful thought.
'Cause everyone
want-
said it all the time, or Elias Neshama, and
Right. Well, so that feels different to have the soul should be elevated. Like, what does that mean? I don't really know because nobody's come back from the dead to tell us, if that makes sense.
Yes.
no,
Yeah,
that's
that's-
amazing. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, I know, right? We don't know what Tchilat HaMetim means, actually. So yes, Debbie.
I was just going to say, I think I'd mentioned to you last week that the last few lines are in Shalom Aleichem, like you say them on Friday night.
Yes, Seitchem Shalom, go out in peace. That's true. Seitcha Voecha, Shalom, all right, and that's about the angels.
Yeah.
We should go in peace, come in peace, bring peace to the Shabbat table.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Wow. Okay, I want to read a poem that one of the women brought to the Chevra Kadisha meal. It's really beautiful. I don't know what book it's from. It's called Gone from My Sight by Reverend Luther F. Beecher, who lived in the 19th century, 1813, and died in 1903 at the age of 90, so that's pretty good. I am standing upon the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails. Wait, apologies. A ship at my side. Let me start again. I'm standing upon the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength, and I stand and watch her until she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and sky come down to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There she goes." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in mast and hull and spar as she was when she left my side, and just as able to bear her load of living freight to the place of destination. Her diminished size is in me and not in her. And just at the moment when someone at my side says, "There she goes," there are other eyes that are watching for her coming and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes." That could be Tzeitka Voecha.
Beautiful.
There are others in heaven, God, and others perhaps who passed away previously, who say, "There she comes." Ooh, that goes so beautifully with the last line of this psalm. Friends, I'm just teaching a class here, so if you could keep the voices down. Go downstairs. I'm teaching a class.
I don't even hear
If you
you.
could just keep the volume down. Thank you. This is not the best place today for me to situate myself. And I can't go to my office because somebody said, "Can you use my office?" I'm like, "Sure. I'm going to be in the lobby the next hour." Okay. Who knew? Hi. You know, I mean, we could go to Psalm 130, but it's just so much beauty, and I don't want to take away the beauty. I want to sing again this song, the song that I like, the tune that I like. And maybe I know I don't want to end a class early, but it's just so beautiful, everything we spoke about today. And I don't want to overlay it with another very noisy. Shir למעלות, אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי, עזרי מעם השם, עושה שמיים וארץ, אל ייתן למוט רגליך, אל ינום שומרך, הנה לא ינום ולא יישן שומר ישראל. השם שומרך, השם צילך, על יד ימינך, יומם השמש לא יככה, וירח בלילה. השם ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך, השם ישמור צאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד עולם.
Beautiful.
I'm going to read again the Gaia's rendition that Debbie read for us so beautifully. This is another beautiful little book about Psalms called Psalm Songs. She told me, by the way, that it took her 5 years to write it, and it was a labor of love and it gave her more, she said, than anybody gets from it, and that none of the proceeds go to her, they all go to tzedakah. I don't remember which
Beautiful.
tzedakah, which charity. She said, just, I mentioned it to her on Shabbat. I said, I take it with me now to read, and it's so beautiful. And she said, I just want you to know that it's not, it's not for her, it's a labor of love. I lift my eyes to mountain skies and wonder where relief resides. I know that God made mountain skies, and my belief in him abides. My God, the guard of Israel, will never sleep, won't let me fall. He watches me, protects me from the midnight moon and the noonday sun. He'll rescue you from random fate, restore your body and your soul. He is with you through birth and death, as you come in and when you go.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Oh my goodness,
Very
so
nice.
much beauty today, just
I
so much.
think her
Thank
beautiful
you.
paragraph really explains to us why we say this particular psalm every Shabbat.
Or every day, we say it every day.
Every day. Oh, you say it every day.
At
Yes.
tefillah, but yes, on
At
Shabbat as
tefillah.
well.
I
And
mean,
why do you think, Karen?
because it's speaking to our, the Israeli soldiers and the women soldiers and everyone.
Oh, wow, yes. And
Um,
actually, Judy Stiglitz said that a
Yeah.
mother sending her child off to the army.
Yeah, and saying,
Wow, that's so powerful. So in other words,
"Techa
your journey,
Oecha," yeah,
yes, you should come back, and to the hostages. Say,
yeah,
"Chao voecha," you should go out, but you should come
yeah.
back in,
So
right?
Mhm.
I didn't really know why this psalm was said every day, and of course on Shabbat, but it's really clarified it for me.
Well, I
Totally.
don't know if that's why we do it, Karen, because as I said, one of the reasons is because it's short, it's alliterated, and it has easy words. It's not the
Understand.
lexicon is easy. But
Right.
here we see that there are so many
Yeah.
levels that can be.
I
Yeah.
mean, it might be short, but it's awfully heavy, deep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, it's
Yeah.
powerful. So,
Powerful. Yeah. Well, it can be heavy. It doesn't
right.
have to be heavy, but it
I
can
think
be.
it'll always be heavy for me.
Yeah. Why will always be heavy? Can you say something about
Because
that?
of our discussion just
Yeah.
now.
Oh,
And
that it's about life, perhaps.
and connecting it to Israel,
Oh, yeah, it'll
Mhm.
always feel connected. Yeah.
everything connected since October 7th.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's true.
mm,
It'll always have
mhm.
that feeling. Yep, no, I hear that. We'll never be able to unforget that, right?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah, we'll never be able to unsee once it's connected. But I'm actually hearing the comfort of God collecting our souls, as we said, right? It's 100%, what did I call it? 0% success rate or 0%, what was the word I said? 0% something, success in being human, right? We always end being human. So I find that comforting. And what Alice said, I hope that, if I know when my time will come, that I will find that I will hold that to myself. I did this ethical will workshop, which was really beautiful. And I didn't think of saying that, but I'm going to add it to my notes if I ever do another one. But that can be comforting.
I just want to let you know, it's traditional during an Ashkenazic Tahara, when the body is being prepared for burial, that there's no extraneous talking, and if it's whisper. But the Sephardic have a tradition of singing
So
to the
we
body.
adopted that in our Chevra Kadisha. There's singing when the body comes in. Sometimes we even invite the family, if they wish, to sing after the Tara and to accompany the body out. Maybe a song that that person loved. and making it
Mhm.
loving and meaningful. I have to
Right.
say that the time that there is talking is just to explain. So when there are novices, so we do speak respectfully, never extraneous, never light talking, because we want to respect the person, the body that's in the room, not ignoring the body. If one needs to drink, one goes out of the room, or eat something, goes out of the room. Yes, there's a lot of respect given. Yeah, a lot of love and respect. But let's end on something a little more upbeat than thinking of that. So somebody have an idea? That feels like a hard way to end.
Purim.
Right.
Let's talk about Purim.
Yeah, and no, what I've been thinking about is we spent months on Megillat
We
Esther.
did.
And I just hope when I'm reading it that all that learning really makes a big difference in my understing. And I'm sure it will.
I mean, it'll be points that pop out at you. That's probably
Yeah,
what'll
no,
happen.
I'm going to read my notes.
Oh,
And
nice. That's a good idea. If those who
Yeah.
have notes.
right.
Right.
And,
Okay. That's
uh,
nice. Yeah, we
so-
did finish it in a timely, it was beautiful. It really we
Yeah.
started, I think, we started last year, like January, right before, and we
Right.
finished right before prom. So actually the timing was great.
Right. So we have
Okay.
to be Sameach. It's Purim.
Right.
Yes,
Chag
Chag
Purim
Sameach.
Sameach.
I'm gonna stop the recording.